Firms make savings of at least £70 million a year. Now, once a British motoring icon, MG Rover is now starting life as a very Chinese brand, just 2 years after the firm closed its Longbridge plant here in the UK. The first of the new MGs are starting to roll off the production line in the city of Nanjing. Sky's Asia correspondent Peter Sharp reports.
The party to launch MG in China threw up some confusing cultural references. Irish folk dancing, performed by Chinese, in front of a local media who've been told MG stands for modern gentleman. No wonder the MG Owners Club is anxious.
Well, people associate a lot of Chinese products with the Christmas cracker content, and they're worried that that will be introduced in the MG.
But MG's new Chinese owners say the British icon is in safe hands. Nanjing Autos bought the company for the knockdown price of £53 million. Last year they pulled the Longbridge plant apart and unpacked it crate by crate 6,000 miles away. Less than a year later and they've got the much-loved Humpty Dumpty of the British car industry back together again.
This was the most audacious Chinese takeaway in history. 20,000 tons of car plants shipped halfway around the world to be reassembled in a Chinese paddy field.
The new Chinese management hoped to do what British industry couldn't, breathe back some life into this aging automotive legend. They'll do that by paying workers a tenth of what they earned at Longbridge. But they're not complaining.
I'm a car fan and love my job. Now I'm making the best car in the world.
Today the car industry is heading east. The Beijing Motor Show saw the launch of the Roe, the renamed Rover, another famous British mark snapped up by the Chinese. Next year, that most holy of holies, the London Black Cab, will also be produced here. Back in Nanjing, Paul Stowe, who worked at Longbridge before joining MG in China, took me for a spin in one of the first cars off the line.
With the demise of MG Rover, everyone was very sad. And it's sad as well in some ways that it's now been done in China, but unfortunately that's the global market these days, and you know, we all have to keep up and recognise that the world is changing.
As Britain's car industry fades in the west, a new Detroit is rising in the east. Peter Sharp, Sky News in Nanjing, China.
Oil prices have jumped in the wake of the seizure of 15 British military personnel by Iran. Brent crude moving close to $64 a barrel, its highest level this year. The heightened tensions between Tehran and the West have raised more fears that energy prices could soar even higher if the situation deteriorates further. And if you've got any thoughts on the Iran crisis and what it means to your energy prices, take a look at my blog on the Sky News website at sky.com/news. Right, here's where the market's going today, and the FTSE up a little bit like that, basically waiting for New York to open, now at the previous time of 2:30 because our clocks have moved forward. But not a great deal moving. This oil stock's doing reasonably well, but I just draw your attention to, as I said, look, you see, creeping up there. How far will it go? Well, there's probably about a 5% premium, a danger premium on it at the moment. People have been talking about $100 a barrel should anything terrible happen in Iran. That's probably just a spike, really. Level of about $60 a barrel. That's what people are thinking at the moment. See you later.
You will, Michael. Thanks so much indeed. Steve McLaren, one of the top sports stories today. Charlie?
Yes, and we should be hearing from him, in fact, sometime this afternoon, and we'll bring that to you just as soon as we hear from him. England are currently training in Barcelona ahead of Wednesday's Euro 2008 qualifier against Andorra. All smiles at the moment from McLaren. When they headed off to the session this morning, Captain John Terry's confirmed that McLaren did have a go at the players after the match in Tel Aviv, but says the details will remain secret. England's scheduled cricket tour of Pakistan in 2010 won't now go ahead until 2 years later as part of a compensation settlement between the two boards following the forfeited test at the Oval last summer. Pakistan have also waived their fee for a scheduled 2020 match when they next tour here in 2012. Kevin Peterson's gone top of the world one-day batting rankings, replacing Australia's Michael Hussey. He's the first England player to top the batting ranking since Marcus Trescothick 2 years ago. And despite an unimpressive final round, Tiger Woods remains the man to beat with the Masters just 10 days away. He won the World Golf Championships in Florida for the 6th time with a final round of 73. That's it for the moment. See you a bit later. Okay.
Charlie, thanks very much indeed. A reminder now of the breaking news this hour, a face-to-face meeting between Gerry Adams and Ian Paisley. Their differences put aside to get the Northern Ireland Assembly up and running again.
A long and difficult time in our province. I believe that enormous opportunities lie ahead for our province. Devolution has never been an end in itself, but is about making a positive difference to people's lives.
Reached between Sinn Féin and the DUP, including the unequivocal commitment made by their party executive and reiterated today to the restoration of political institutions on May the 8th, marks the beginning of a new era of politics